G'day, my name's Michael from Tamworth Baptist Church, talking about 2020. How's 2020 been for you? A lot of people, it's been a write-off. I know a lot of people who are kind of like thinking, just can't wait for it to end. I've certainly felt like that. And you see the memes on the Facebook or whatever about if 2020 was. It's been a tough year, but I think there's also been some positives that people have found in it. So I know that some families have said, you know what, we actually like being less busy. They realised when things got cancelled, they'd let their family get too busy, and they've actually enjoyed spending time with each other and being a bit more relaxed. I've certainly loved seeing families out on our street, you know, walking together, the kids riding their bikes, things like that, that last year you just didn't see it that much, and so it's been wonderful. I know that there's been a real move, and people have been studying it. There's a lot of people not going to want to go back to work next year. They want to stay working from home. It's like that 1.5 hour commute. You can have that. I don't want it back. So there's been some positives in a really negative year. And I guess that's what I want to talk about today, is that things are never quite simple. That they're always a bit more complicated. We want things to be black and white, but they're always a little bit more complicated than that. So for this year, I'm wondering if, even though it's been a negative year, if there's some things we can learn from it. And as Christians, we probably should be trying to learn from it. The Apostle says that we boast in our afflictions because afflictions produce character. Afflictions produce endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. So he says we boast in our afflictions. So Christians are going to find something positive even in these negatives. And so I'm going to do a series now over the next little while about 20 lessons from 2020. 20 things I think we can learn from 2020. And the first one is just this that I've already mentioned. We want things to be simple, but they never are. We want things to be straightforward, black and white, but they never are. And we can see that in 2020 so clearly. Coronavirus itself, like how much have people kind of made it black and white, made it simple, made it so in the news it's been coronavirus is deadly, but actually the truth is a little bit more complicated than that. It's very deadly for certain kinds of people, but it's been absolutely harmless for others. And there's people in the middle. It's got the whole range. Some people it's been horrific. Some people they don't know they've got it. And then there's people in the middle who have a mild case, a medium case, and then a month-long case of, being unwell. It's more complicated than just a simple, it's deadly. It's deadly for some, and that's what we've got to deal with. But it's not deadly for others. And making it straightforward and simple doesn't help, because you get those young people who, when they get sick with it and find they've got a bunch of friends, well, they had it and nothing happened, they stop believing everything else we're saying because, well, they're not telling the truth. So we've got to resist that temptation to have everything simple, everything straightforward, everything black and white. Things can be complicated. Let me give you another example, more so in the States than here in Australia, but the Black Lives Matter movement has been a big thing over the last few months. And if you look at that, you can see very quickly a tendency to make everything simple. That it's black or white, and unfortunately that's what it is. All cops are bad. All black people are innocent. Now, we know as Christians that it's not that simple. And that's something I'll talk about in a future week, is that we tend to think people are simple, and we don't understand people at all, that people are complex, people are complicated. We want things to be simple, but they rarely are. And so what that means is that I think we need to just be a little bit more patient. We need to give ourselves time to understand things, and we need to allow things to take time to develop. When you see something on the news, it's not as simple as they're telling you. It might be a bit more complicated. When someone tells you a story, there might be more to it than you've been told. When you're having an emotional reaction, just be prepared to realize it might be more complicated than I'm making it. Things are not as simple as we'd like them to be. Things are complicated. Things are complex. And so let's just take time to let the truth come out. Let's just take time to think about things. Let's let things work out a little bit before we feel we have to rush to judgment. I think that's a thoughtful way to approach things, a helpful way to approach things. Didn't the scriptures say, be slow to speak? Be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry? Isn't that the opposite of so many people in 2020? Who are so quick to become angry because they're quick to make up their minds about things, and quick to express their judgment, and very slow to listen to the whole story. As Christians, let's not be like that. Let's realize things are complicated. We live in a fallen world, a complicated world, and so it's going to be really much better for us if we're quick to listen, slow to form judgment, slow to speak, and very slow to become angry. If we take that approach, perhaps we can actually make bad things a little bit better and share some of the good things with others. So over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to talk about a number of things, 20 lessons from 2020. First one is, we want things to be simple, but they're not. They rarely are. So let's just be patient and allow things to work out and find the truth of the story. Okay, God bless you. I'll look forward to catching up with you next time when we talk about how people are more complicated than we think they are. God bless.